So you are listening to KCC Live 99.8 FM each and every Wednesday with me, Miguel, for our Rewind Hour. And as you'll be having some amazing guests in on our show each week talking about their journey, inspiring people who are doing great work in the community. And I'm delighted today to have the Right Worshipful, the Lord Mayor of Liverpool, Councillor Malcom Kennedy in the studio. Say hello to our listeners, Malcolm.
Hello, everybody.
And how are we today?
I'm pretty fine this morning. Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for coming in. And I've obviously been watching you for the last 6 months while you have been in office. We've crossed paths numerous times at events, and you've been a great supporter of the work that we've been doing at MDing with Blank Canvas. So I just want to say thank you for that. And one of the main things that have stood out for me is your passion in diversity and building people up. And I just really want to know where that comes from and why.
Well, building people up. I mean, it seems to me that I was taught very early on in life that everybody matters. That I was brought up in a family where love was the dominant feeling, where you were that people should love each other. And it's not always easy. We're all pretty frail human beings. But I think treating everybody the same, no matter who they are, what their background is, that everybody's worthy of respect is something that I was very much brought up with.
They're absolutely amazing qualities. So speaking about your journey to Lord Mayor and where we are today, so how did this all come about?
Well, it wouldn't have come about if I hadn't come to Liverpool in the first place, because I wasn't born here. But when I was 20, I wanted to get away from home. I wanted to establish my own life, and I wanted a change of job as well at the time. And I came to Liverpool actually to train as a teacher. I played piano, and so the original idea was that I would be a music teacher, and I ended up training to teach in junior schools and ended up eventually in a school in Huyton and Huyton Quarry, St Gabriel's, teaching a class of 8 and 9-year-olds. Wow. By the age of 24, looking in the most ghastly clothes as well, Miguel. Absolutely awful. Never mind.
So obviously, well, something I've learned today, I can tell by your song choices that you're passionate about music, but I didn't know that until today, and it plays a big part in all of our lives. I know I've asked you to pick a couple of songs to play today, and there's a little bit of a message behind each one of them. So do you want to tell our listeners your first track for today?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of the people I like are probably quite obscure to a lot of your listeners, but there's a chap who's a big hero of mine. I picked 2 of his songs. Is Steve Earle. He's very well known for writing Galway Girl, which is very popular these days, and Ed Sheeran did a copy of it, but he's been going since the 80s, and he's actually my age, or at least he's just 1 year younger than me. He once described himself as the only Marxist country and western singer. As you know, country and western has a kind of right-wing reputation, but Steve Earle's a quite progressive guy. And he wrote a song called Jerusalem, and there was a line in that song that always hit home to me, which said, I don't remember learning how to hate in Sunday school. And he was talking about Middle East conflict and very serious subjects. And it just seems to me that I'm rather blessed by the fact that actually I learned the right things when I was younger.
Yeah.
And so Steve Earle for me is a wonderful songwriter.
Well, that's amazing to hear. Well, do you want to introduce your first song of today's show?
Well, the first song, Steve Earle, Jerusalem, from the album Jerusalem, a must listen and a great message.
Here we go, everyone. Hope you enjoy this one. And as you heard a little bit earlier on, we have our amazing guest in here today, our Lord Mayor of Liverpool, Malcom Kennedy. And he has been speaking about some amazing things which fit perfectly with us when you talk about hope, love, opportunities, building self-esteem, teaching people not to hate. And it's fantastic messages. And again, for your career and where you are now, when you look at messages and highlights and inspiration and energy, what do you think's been your highlight so far of this term of being Lord Mayor?
The highlight of being Lord Mayor, well, there's so many, but I think overall, although there have been really big ceremonies, I think just meeting the children of this city, actually, going into schools, seeing children of the ages that when I was a teacher, and seeing how bright and hopeful they are. Great moments in schools. I was in a school on Saturday, the Arabic Centre, a supplementary school, and children learning Arabic. I mean, a lot of children of Arab background, but born here and then learning the languages of their parents. Children from different countries, Iraq, Syria, Iran. Absolutely marvellous to see them on just on Saturday.
Yeah, and that's absolutely amazing. We spoke about this before, didn't we, about Liverpool being a very cultural city and of what it's been built on and the heritage that's here. It is a very diverse background, isn't it, for the city, and it's very much at the forefront now with, it's 10 years since capital culture that's coming around now.
Well, it's the kind of world that, in a sense, I wanted to see. But it just occurs to me a really old pop song which talked about society being a melting pot, and that people, again, just to repeat the point, it doesn't matter where people are from, what languages they speak, who they are, what religion they follow. It is possible if people are willing to do it, to work together, to live together, to love together. And I think Liverpool as a city can, at its best, exemplify that.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely amazing. And for us and for the work that we do, it's great to see that in the city. It's very inspiring for the young people. It's kind of like a free speech. You can be who you want to be here. And the people of Liverpool seem to celebrate that diverse culture and entrepreneurship. And there's very much a fighting spirit. And I feel like Liverpool is high energy for that at the minute as well, in the times that we are. It's really forthcoming in change and growth.
Well, when Liverpool won Capital of Culture, the slogan was "The world in one city." The world in one city. And I think that's true. Some of the communities that we've met had a lot to do with the Chinese community as Lord Mayor. And they've been here longer than any Chinese community in Europe, and meeting other communities, as I say, like the Arabic community on Saturday. It's just fantastic.
And also with your role as Lord Mayor, and each Lord Mayor, you get to pick your Lord Mayor's charities for each year. So who have you picked and why?
Oh, well, the charities I picked one was in relation to being a teacher, and that was the ADHD Foundation.
So that I see in it you spoke at the ADH 10-year anniversary.
You did
some work
the dance
yeah,
routine,
with the God, yeah. So you were up there performing. So Tony Lloyd, who's the chief executive there, is a great supporter of ours, and he's doing fantastic work. So obviously for the ADHD Foundation, and speaking of young people and at schools, that is obviously something that's really important.
The astonishing thing is, when I was training to be a teacher, I keep saying to people, I never read one book on ADHD. We didn't know about it. We didn't have one lecture even about ADHD, or even be given an article to read on it. So by the time I went into school, and it was actually teaching young children, I had no idea of the difficulties that some children might face in our classroom. That's what struck me about the ADHD Foundation. It's the only one of its kind in the country, and people are coming from all over the country to get help from it, and it's a real Liverpool success story, and I wanted to support it.
Yeah.
The second charity I chose was something called the Owen McVeigh Foundation. Owen was a young lad who died of leukemia. His mother and father, Mark and Joanne, they started up the Owen McVeigh Foundation, and one of the things that struck them was just very simple, that the amount of activities, experiences they would have had, and the experiences they had with their child, all of these are memories either gained or memories lost. And they wanted to create memories with families, so somebody could do something that they'd always wanted to do. And they've been very successful. They had a lot of support from Liverpool Football Club as well. They're famous for their the big flag that's shown at Anfield with "Off to the Match" and the little boy
Wow.
with the number 12 on his back. But it's a charity that's only a year old, and I thought needed some support. One of the things that really raises my spirits, though, about the charities that I've got, the third one I chose was the Choir with No Name.
Oh, yeah, I've come across them too, yeah.
The Choir with No Name is a group of people who've been homeless, and brings them together really as a family. And some of the leadership of that choir, people who've got involved, like Mersey Wiley, for example, Emma Quinn, absolutely tremendous. And to practice and rehearse with the choir is a great experience as well. And they've become good friends of mine, and it's lovely to meet them and see them performing. So I wanted to support them. I just had one smaller charity, and it's an issue that's been important to me during my life, during my political life, and that's been and it's again, it comes down to that thing about inclusiveness and people being involved in society. Is the magazine All Together Now, run by a chap called Tom Dowling. You'll see the magazine when you go into doctors' waiting rooms or in hospitals. You'll see it in the town hall, in the main entrance. It gives information and news for people with an impairment, physical disability. And it's funded partly by advertising around products, but it's also a charity, so donations from various public bodies will help keep it going. So I wanted to support that as well, because it originally was a page in the Echo called "I Can Do That," but that was discontinued. So Tom got the magazine going, so I wanted to make sure we can give some help towards the magazine continuing.
That's amazing. Well, continuing on from there then, I know we have another song, so what is your second song and why?
Well, we'll go back to that idea of Liverpool being the world in one city, and I'm married to a Spanish citizen. And my wife was originally born, she was an immigrant to Spain originally, and she was born in Romania, and during the time that communism was ruled in Romania. I've got lots of memories of being a child and Britain changing, but I think in a very positive way, and not enough is spoken about this. The song is City of Immigrants, and it's again written by Steve Earle, and he's talking about New York, and he's talking about the ethnic mix in New York, and how it's how the place is so alive because of it. Singing in languages I don't speak, living in a city of immigrants. It's just a very positive message about a modern society, different ethnicities in society, all mixing together in a symphony of to make the place just a better place.
Amazing. Well, do you want to introduce your second song to our listeners?
So, yeah, the song's written again by Steve Earle, City of Immigrants, from an album called Washington Serenade, if you want to look it up. But my heart keeping time to 1,000 beats, singing in languages I don't speak.
It's been a fascinating interview today. I've been following your work for some time, and I've learnt a lot, from your passion that you have from about culture here today, that you're a fan of music and lyrics, your work that you're doing with charities and for the young people. And a lot of that takes, energy when you look at hope and you keep driving. You've come to Liverpool here at 21. You said you celebrated your 21st birthday here and then made it your home, when you've become the Lord Mayor of our city. A lot of that takes, energy and commitment and drive. And for you, where does that come from?
I can't understand people who just want to go through life and, have a good time, enjoy, get to the end of it, and feel that perhaps they didn't achieve something. I think I was driven that I wanted at the end of my life, because we have a limited span here on Earth. I wanted at least some people to say, well, I made a difference. Now, as an individual, perhaps you don't make that much difference, but combining with other people you can make a big difference, or you can stop bad things happening. I just wanted my life to have some kind of impact and to be proud. That comes, I think, from looking at family members and heroes of mine who, in their own locale, with the people that they mix with, really made a difference for good.
Fantastic. So we spoke about the past and the present. So to wrap up our interview for us, I know you have just under 6 months left in your term as Lord Mayor. And then beyond that, what is next for Malcom Kennedy? Do you have any more goals and dreams? What do you want to achieve?
Well, goodness knows, I'm 64. I just checked the dates, the 18th of January when I become 64. So I'm very near natural retirement age.
You're not ready for that yet.
I think I've still got a bit of energy in me. And,
I think so.
But I've never been a big planner of what I'm going to do in that sense. Things have come up. I can't imagine it being much different from the things which have driven me. I'm not ready just to forget about what I've been trying to achieve in life. But we'll see. We'll see if there's anything more for me on after my 65th birthday.
Okay, well, I'll be keeping a close eye, which brings us to our third song. What do we have?
Well, the one thing you definitely need if you're going to get involved in politics is a little bit of steel.
Okay.
And there are times when things can get tough. And I can remember in the 80s going to meetings which I knew at most of the meeting I was probably going to be abused and shouted at for having a country point of view to other people in the room. And I used to worry about, I'd be walking along Lower Breck Road, my stomach churning and saying I'd be much better sitting at home and watching the telly. But I went to the meeting anyway. And the song I Won't Back Down was written by Tom Petty, recorded by a lot of different people. I like the version that's recorded by another one of my heroes, Johnny Cash, in which basically he's saying you can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down.
That is true.
What I've always wanted to do in life is stand up for what I think's right, and not flinch from saying what needs to be said, even if people are going to disagree strongly with you. If it's right, then you should be saying it, and you should be getting that point over, and you shouldn't be frightened to do so.
Well, it's been amazing to have you in today. It's been nice to hear your point of view. It's echoed a lot of thoughts and views and opinions of mine, which has given me some great inspiration today. I love everything that you're standing for in terms of your passion and standing there with steel, with hope and courage, and especially in bringing people together and obviously inspiring the youth. So it's been an absolute pleasure to have you in here today. I've learned some more new and interesting facts about yourself. But introduce the final song to our listeners.
All right, so the final song, Johnny Cash performing Tom Petty's song, I Won't Back Down.